10-pin bowling is an odd sport, really. Not the game itself, of course. It's fun, it's easy to play, but it's difficult to master. It's just that with the amount of those bowleramas scattered throughout the planet, attended to by many a half-term rainy day nipper and their divorced dads, not to mention the amount of practice everyone from your 6-year-old nephew right up to the denizens of your local care home got in 2008 thanks to Wii Sports. Well, how come it's never been a sport that everyone practices, is really good at, and has become a huge spectator sport? Structurally, it's the same kind of turn-based sport as golf, darts or snooker, so it's surely ripe for some sort of mainstream television appeal. Yet we only sort of play it once, and then don't play it again until someone's got a birthday the next year. What a weird sport. I mean, can you name a legend of the sport? One that isn't Fred Flintstone, or Homer Simpson, or Bill Murray's hirsutely challenged Big Ern from Kingpin? I certainly can't, and maybe it's different in North America, but I find it very strange given the amount of facilities that we have that are open. Well, you can also add Yakko, Wacko and Dot Warner to that list of fictional characters I mentioned earlier, as they are about to take to the well-polished alley in this curious use of the Animaniacs licence that happened upon the PlayStation 1. I mean, at least it's not a Mario Kart clone. Animaniacs was an animated slapstick and sketch comedy series that first aired in 1993. It was a collaboration between Warner Brothers Animation and Steven Spielberg's Amblin Entertainment, the second such team-up after the success of Tiny Toon Adventures. Whereas Tiny Toon's cast was based on the Looney Tunes' huge catalogue of anthropomorphic characters and their various human adversaries, the characters in Animaniacs were entirely new creations, albeit designed to be in the style of the classic characters of Tex Avery and Chuck Jones. Animaniacs was presented as a variety show with the core trio of the Warner Brothers, who look nothing like the early 20th century film producers after which they are named, joined in their 22-minute exploits by the likes of Slappy Squirrel, the Goodfeathers Pigeons, and the megalomaniac Brain and his dopey mouse assistant Pinky in isolated segments. Alongside the broad comedy, a highlight being the legendarily smutty adults-only wink joke about Prince, which I'm going to play now.
No, fingerprints.
I don't think so.
There were also slight educational elements, believe it or not, which covered subjects from history, social studies and geography, often in the form of a humorous song. It was a big hit, running for 5 seasons and a total of 99 episodes. It also returned for a reboot for 3 series in 2020 on the Hulu network, which has now sadly finished. There was certainly a lot of video games released on multiple formats based on the Animaniacs, but I decided to look at this one because it is weird and I am also weird. Animaniacs 10-Pin Alley was a North American-only 1998 release brought to our burger-eating pals by ASC Games. ASC had previously released a title called 10-Pin Alley, on which this game's engine and mechanics are based upon. ASC tasked coding team Sapphire with bringing this blend of kids' cartoon and drunken birthday frolic to Sony's debutant console, and that they bally well did. I'm quite familiar with Sapphire as they produce quite the host of licensed games that I've already taken a look at. E.T. Escape from Planet Earth on Game Boy Color, along with a trio of previously covered Game Boy Advance movie adaptations, those being Thunderbirds, Peter Pan, and Around the World in 80 Days. You can find them elsewhere on my channel should you wish to look them up after you've enjoyed this bowling game review. There isn't much of a plotline to this game. Our leading trio are invited to play in a bowling tournament, so they exit their dwelling in the Warner Brothers lot water tower and turn into 3D characters. The Brain also receives an invitation to play and decides to use this sporting endeavour to, and here comes another impression, try to take over the world. Is that alright? Outside the Goodfeathers Pigeons, a plot to bet on the winner, and this plotline really doesn't go anywhere. Yes, indeed, the script is as underdeveloped as your average stepsister romance on Xvideos. Let's put it like that. In addition to the Warners and Brain in a man-sized robot suit, you can also select a few other characters from the show. All will have their own statistics and animations when they either fail or get a strike. There's a few options at the start. You can either play the tournament with its very thin plotline and cutscenes, or a team play or open game type affair. The latter two of which I can actually see being pretty good fun party games, which I was unable to test being an old man awaiting a lonely death. You can choose which hand your avatar uses, which type of ball they'll utilise, whether you're a rookie or an expert, which will help compensate for your wayward newbie aim, and yes, you can have the barriers up too, in case you're about as useful at bowling as a limp, limbless salmon. The controls work in a very similar way to a golfing game, albeit with more meters. The top meter is for your power, the bottom is for release, and the green vertical arrow is how much spin you apply to your ball. If you time your button presses too early or too late, your shot will fail, and you'll get a silly animation of your chosen character coming a cropper. As previously stated, the characters have different stats, so the sweet spot durations of these meters will vary per character. It's pretty tricky to get the timing exactly right, but then it wouldn't be fun if you could just hit 100% strikes each time, would it? However, I do think there is a slight luck element in this to make it less predictable. A golf game changes your location, putting you in rough, bunkers and behind trees. In a 10-pin bowling game, you're in the same location each time, so hitting the same button presses at the same time should always equal the same results. However, it doesn't. Does this add to the game or detract from it? It's difficult to say. Though there are multiple alleys, I'm pretty sure they're all the same to play on, except obviously with different aesthetics. Again, this is a bit disappointing considering the silliness of the Animaniacs license. Surely there could have been scope to add, I don't know, speed boosters or glue or something in the aisles which you had to kind of avoid and curve the ball around. Overall, the license isn't really used at all well, other than the attributes, the thin amount of cutscenes, the music, and those failure or success animations. The usage of the Animaniacs is pretty thin. Bowling is certainly something a bit different to play, and if you've got a few novices together, I think you'll be in for a fairly good evening. But I believe it will be fairly short-lived entertainment. It's no Wii Sports, that's for sure. It would certainly be worth a rent if such a thing was possible these days, which it isn't, because time has fundamentally changed the landscape of how we consume and source our weekend entertainment, and thus the concept of renting games is no more. IGN reviewed Animaniacs 10-Pin Alley in January 1999. They gave it a 71% and said that it is an odd game. If you like Animaniacs and bowling, give it a shot. Unfortunately, I doubt you're going to find a lot of people who fit that criteria. Kids will probably be frustrated with the controls, and it's a good chance older gamers won't care for its randomness. EGM did their multiple reviewer thing in February 1999, but at least they were largely agreed that it was in the 6 out of 10 range in terms of its quality. They reckon it's not worth getting if you own the standard 10-Pin Alley. However, they think the kids will love it. So yes, a very weird use of the Animaniacs license, but predictably pretty average. Thanks to Kampolsky for suggesting. Check out his channel, which I will put a link to at the end there. Let's have a look at what's up for the next episode in this series. Well, I think as bowling alleys have arcades, let's just pop away from the alley itself and go to that little side hustle of video games. And let's have a look at the arcade version of Bucky O'Hare. Like, subscribe, and Kay, thanks, bye.